This is breaking news, huge developing story. Scooby-Doo's Velma Dinkley finally confirmed as lesbian in new Trick or Treat film as new female love interest is introduced. That's it.
I knew it.
All of your Velma fantasies are over, everybody.
I knew it.
Your weird Velma fetishes, they're done. She is officially a lady lover. Mm-hmm. They have confirmed it.
Well, there goes my chances with Velma.
With a non-existent cartoon character.
Dang it.
So I don't know. I saw the story. I thought it was funny because why? Seriously, why? Does Velma need to be attracted to someone for her character to work? Is there a reason why after what has been like 50 years they said she's
because
gay?
they lean too heavily on gender and sexuality and explosions now, and they don't have good storylines anymore. So they're going to pull in a whole different demographic of people to watch it who are like, I feel seen. It's my representation. Representation is important.
Real quick. For those big Scooby-Doo fans, has sexuality been a component of the show at all?
Never.
No. Like, is Fred going like, hey, baby, and stuff like that?
I mean, when they did the live action Scooby-Doo with, I don't even remember.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze, yeah.
And Sarah Michelle Gellar, Matthew Lillard, and I don't know who played Velma.
Yeah.
But I think the larger question is,
was there any tension in that? Like
Johnny Bravo he did the hey little mama. I think
so that would be the closest.
There were like gags and stuff, but I the reason I bring this question is because Scooby-Doo's for kids. Mm-hmm. Why is Velma like? You know what? No, there was Scooby had a girlfriend, didn't he? In like one of the movies.
Did he?
But there's like not a big sexual component of Scooby-Doo to begin with, so this is just out of place. Period for the show. Like you don't see it like in the cartoon. It's like almost every single episode of the show ever is that some dude is trying to lower property value by pretending to be a ghost or a mummy or something. Yep. And then they're like, he was trying to scam people.
It just shows you that the monsters are adults and the monsters are, scammers.
Monsters were people
monsters
the whole
are
time.
people the whole time, yeah.
But I guess
would have gotten away
that's
with
the
it
lesson,
too.
but now it's monsters are people the whole time and Thelma's gay.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, because you need accurate representation.
Yeah, because representation.
Who's the producers of Scooby-Doo? Is it,
Harvey Weinstein? Is Harvey Weinstein producing this thing? And another thing,
all of this?
Why are they interjecting sexual preference in a kid's movie? I think everyone should be asking
Disney
themselves
was doing
after
the same
this.
thing, though, right?
Well, Disney also does a lot of sinister subliminal messages and puts wieners everywhere. So they have a horrible track record, especially with a lot of their younger stars. But as Tim pulled up here, there's.
Well, I think we need to point out that Shaggy is trans.
It's been that way for a while, right?
I've seen my fair share of Scooby-Doo. I mean, it's been around. It's older than I am, and I'm like, Shaggy's been dressing like a lady for a while. Like it's a common trope in the Scooby-Doo series, and so I gotta wonder if these doctors are saying that kids who play with dolls or want to dress like girls are trans. Maybe Shaggy's trying to tell us something, or the producers are trying to tell us something about Shaggy.
Oh. I was looking back at this and I was like, there's cross-dressing in every kids movie. Yeah. Why is this like in Mulan?
Because it was a joke.
Seriously,
it was
always joking about
like in The Lion King, you have Timon who's like, "What do you want me to do? Dress in drag and do the hula?" And the next scene he's in drag doing the hula.
Yep.
And it's comical because it's like, oh well, that's funny, but now it's like that's not funny.
Yeah, it can't be funny.
That can't be funny anymore.
So
Linda Cardellini played Velma in the live action. See, I don't know who that is because I can tell you, like Freddie Prinze Jr., Matthew Lillard, and Sarah Michelle Gellar are famous enough to him. Like I remember who they were, but like I have no idea who this lady is. Did she do other stuff after this? Because I don't know.
I would assume she was a lesbian. Honestly, look
Velma.
At her. Yeah, look at her.
Yeah,
we have one. Look at this guy. We have one. Velma is a lesbian with impeccable taste.
Yikes!
Congratulations, you won. Velma's yours. Velma also calls the police on people in that video game Multiverses, and it caused a huge outrage because they were like, it's racist to call the cops, I guess, and people were posting videos. This is a fighting game. You guys hear about Multiverses? And you can play as like Warner Brothers characters, so like Batman, Shaggy. Velma is a character, and so is LeBron. And Velma's special ability was to call the police, and then a police car arrests you and then drives off the edge, taking you with them.
What the heck?
And so people were posting.
She's a Karen.
Yeah, exactly. They were calling her a Karen,
Becky,
saying she was like, "You're in big trouble now." And the squad car grabs the person, and like people were posting videos of LeBron getting arrested. And then people were even leftists were tweeting like, "Yo, is this like kind of weird that Velma's arresting this black guy?" And then the squad car drives off the cliff, and then you die. That's how the game works.
Jeez.
Yeah. So you won. Velma is a lesbian, but she's also a Karen.
We
and she's
won,
kind of racist.
but I
so-
lost because my chances with Velma are
I'm
forever
sorry.
gone. I never get to dream about her
Womp
ever
Well, it's
again.
always kind of been a dynamic between LGBTQ and Black Lives Matter, like especially in June, when they have like their month, and then every time the LGBT or Black Lives Matter would get something, it would always be like they'd have to share it. And I remember this being like a big controversy between the two different factions. So there is always something between the two. I don't know if they're trying to pit it against each other or what it is, but
They also tried saying that Samus from Metroid was a trans woman.
Samus?
So Samus. So you guys know the game Metroid? Mm-mm. It's originally it was NES, and you're a person wearing this suit, and you shoot from your hand or whatever, and then do flips. And at the end, if you get the good ending, it reveals that the character Samus was a woman the whole time. And like Nintendo, she takes the helmet off and there's blonde hair, and it was like, reveal. Mm-hmm. And so then throughout the years, the character has been developed, and Metroid's got a ton of games, and Samus in the Metroid suit or whatever it's called is in Smash Brothers. And they were saying like, this proves that Samus is actually a trans woman. The whole time they were trying to change the character. And the problem was there's like a bunch of art, and Zero Suit Samus is the character in Smash Brothers, and it's like, that's a chick. It's like, it's overtly a woman with big tits and a butt.
So instead of being like, look at what women can achieve, it's like, nope, it was a man the whole time who is a woman.
Samus is actually a male.
Oh yeah,
Man of the year. Man of the
a
year.
trans woman. Yeah, so
I beat you in all the sports too.
This is the thing, like one of the tweets here was, what is this? Is this James Gunn? Someone said, please make our live action lesbian Velma dreams come true. He says, I tried in 2001. In 2001, Velma was explicitly gay in my initial script. The studio just kept watering it down, becoming ambiguous, the version, then nothing, and finally having a boyfriend in the sequel. Oh, so actually Velma's bi. Like canonically, if in the movie she had a boyfriend and she likes girls, she's not a lesbian. So guys, you are incorrect. But someone said Velma being gay is actually massive. We're at a point in time when this major character full of decades-old history and fans gets to actually be a lesbian, and that's just another part of her canon now.
Stop.
Sometimes we need to celebrate these wins. I just don't understand why it's like, don't you want your own characters? So we were talking about the other night that they can't make people famous anymore.
this is
The ability to make celebrities is weakening. And like the ability to create content and characters has failed. Nobody wants to make here's a character, Armadillo guy, like Batman. It's like Batman over and over and over again. Every movie, Spider-Man, Batman, Spider-Man. That's all they ever do. Make Armadillo Man. Someone's probably already done it. Okay, how about what's an obscure animal? Ostrich dude.
Yeah.
And he's a guy who just like an
I
ostrich.
watch ostrich dude.
There you go.
Stan Lee had actually come out and said that the way he wrote his characters, he wrote them specifically like he wrote people, and he was attached to people, so you get like Mary Jane, for instance, a redhead. Let's go into redhead erasure. That's something I hear a lot about. But but they just reimagine the characters as being different than who they were created to be at their foundation.
Well, I'm really upset about the Little Mermaid because they put an actress in Gingerface.
Yes,
That's
You
right.
know?
I'm
It's very
appalled.
disrespectful to the Irish people
It is,
that we
yes.
highly respect here on this show.
Of course.
But also, more importantly, I wish characters in entertainment actually had personalities, actually had interesting storylines, instead of just like, hey, this is my sexual preference, because we're seeing that more and more and more, and it's like, okay, who are you as a real person? Who are you when it comes to actually making
reduce
decisions?
people to their sexuality or their race, and it's
I mean,
damaging.
do you guys
Yeah.
think this is going to reduce profitability of
Yes.
these shows?
Yeah.
Because like Netflix, right? They gone woke, they're going broke, right?
Oh, they're bleeding subscribers, and I bet it's because a lot of people are jumping ship.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to either way. Even if they support the movements, it's like I don't want it to be political at all. Or
It's not that. I think we do want, to a certain degree, some politics in our content, but subtle and what's the right word? Balanced. There was a video, a viral video from some show, Boston Legal, maybe it was, and it was it might have been James Spader and William Shatner. I could be wrong. And they're friends. William Shatner's, I think it's Shatner and Spader. I could be wrong, but I think Shatner is like the mentor to this younger guy who's a liberal and he's a Republican, and then they make a joke about each other being a Republican and liberal, and then smile and look off into the sunset or whatever. Like that's the kind of politics where we're like, oh yeah, like express your idea, challenge the idea, and then have a nuanced conversation. We don't get that now. It's just like, are you a bigot? That's just it. It's just overt, over the top, one dimensional. For what reason is Velma's sexuality a component of the show? It doesn't need to be, but
because they reduce people to their sexuality now.
I mean, look, I get it.
You are,
but they've done Scooby having a girlfriend or whatever, and then like Shaggy had a girlfriend, but it turned out she was an alien, I guess.
Huh,
I can't remember what movie that was, but there's too much Scooby-Doo stuff. But like it ends with him being like, Zoink, she was like an alien the whole time, and like so was the dog. The dog was an alien too.
Brilliant.
So like no, they've done weird stuff. But my point is just like, as we say it all the time, shouldn't you just make a new character?
Yes.
Shouldn't you just write new stories? And then the other issue is, why would I want, like if you're gonna have your kids watch something, why would you want them to watch this kind of stuff?
So I don't think that this is any longer a child show. I think, and I will say, I'm going to have the controversial take. After giving it some thought, I think it's fine that they have a lesbian representation in the show because, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the lesbian bar scene. Probably not. I don't know why I am, for sure. There's like 2 left in the entire country. Lesbians don't count anymore. If you'll recall, lesbians were last being called transphobic for not wanting to engage in certain
TERFs.
acts. Right, they're TERFs because they're just lesbians. They like other women, like biological women with the features of biological women. And I think that this is actually a positive thing because I don't think that Scooby-Doo is a children's show anymore. I think it's a relic of an older generation. So this is like them reviving Hocus Pocus, right?
Yeah.
It's for older people. It's not really for kids. And I think the lesbian representation is good.
So
I talked about this. I was talking about that meme with Abe Simpson, where he's I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was, and now what is scary, and it'll happen to you too. And I was like, that's not going to happen to us. It's not going to happen to us because people aren't having kids.
Yeah.
That means Gen Alpha is going to be smaller, and that means Gen Double Alpha, or whatever comes next, is going to be even smaller.
Beta. Oh, boy.
No. Listen. So what's going to happen is we're all going to be 50 or 60 or whatever. And we're all going to be working and producing still, and millennials aren't going to have kids. And then you're going to get a big promoter who says, we want to do a show, a rock concert, and we want to make the most money. And they're going to say, oh yeah, the Generation Beta artist, he can attract about 20 million people, but the millennial artist is going to bring in 75. Why? There are more millennials.
Yeah, and
just
they're not betas.
Yep.
It's just it. It's a market size thing. It used to be that the new generation was always slightly bigger than the last, so it was always more profitable to target the next generation because it's a bigger market share when they move in the key demo. But now you're going to have 18 to 35-year-olds. There's going to be 20 million of them, and there's going to be 70 million millennials or whatever, and they're going to be like, what's the point? The market share is microscopic. Don't pander to these people, and they're going to have to live in the shadow of the millennial and Gen Z's.
I actually think
Generation
that's
Z.
positive because then they're going to have to create their own culture. They're going to have to make their own art. They're going to have to develop their own music styles. I think this is where we break from corporatism. So I'm feeling very optimistic about this. I mean, we'll see if I'm correct. Like we'll have to wait for a few years, but I think you're right because it is never going to change because now I think Gen Z is the largest demographic right now. I was reading something about that yesterday. And then I think after that, it's going to super taper off because Gen Z is the product of Gen X, right?
Mostly Gen X.
Yeah.
And then I think the oldest millennial, they're not, what's the youngest Gen Z?
I would say like 12, 15.
Okay, so then millennials could have Gen Z kids. If like the oldest millennial has the youngest.
True.
But it's mostly like a Gen X thing.
I think my kids are Gen Z.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think my kids are Gen Z.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Gen Alpha is going to be tiny.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe Gen Z has like a revolt against, millennials and Gen Xers, and they're like, "You're lame. We're gonna have 50 kids and go to church."
That seems to be what happens. I mean, if you look at like even the 80s, like they were the product of the hippies, and they all went and became Republicans. Like it was their way to lash out against their hippie parents.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.